What's up, guys? It's Jake here from Chief Live Gaming. Today, another painting tutorial stemming from the Death Guard minis on the Dark Imperium boxed set. So today we're looking at painting a glowing red eye effect, or an orangey red eye effect that you can see here on this bloat drone. So the reason that I chose red instead of green for my eyes is because I wanted a really sharp and high contrast sort of pop for my eyes, because it's a really important focal point of your miniature. I always try to find a really high contrast color to throw that pop effect into the color scheme. So because my Death Guard are so green, I guess, more of a green tone already on the main armor, the red works really nicely for that. So if you guys are looking for other tutorials on the Death Guard minis in this box set, please check out my tutorial playlist on my channel. You can find other videos for Death Guard stuff there. If you have requests for more videos, more tutorials that you want to see, leave them down in the comments below, and maybe they'll end up in the next video. Alright guys, without further ado, let's jump right in here. Okay guys, so the groundwork that we have set up here for this eye is very simple. We just have the gray primer color that I primed this model in that has not been hit by any other paint yet. Now, you could do some pre-shade or pre-highlight zenithal kind of thing if you'd like with black and white, but for this tutorial I want to illustrate that you don't need to do anything fancy like that if you don't want to. You just come in with your main red first and get a nice solid base coat. So that's what I'm going to do as we move forward here. First step is going to be to establish our red that we're going to work off of. So I've chosen Citadel's Evil Sun's Scarlet. This is a nice, bright, exciting red color to use. I did 3 thinner coats here to get this nice solid base coat. Depending on how much you thin it out, you may only need 1 or 2 coats. Just go ahead and add layers until you've built up a nice solid tone before we move on to the next steps. So the next thing we're going to do is establish some shade and dark areas of this eye here. So I've chosen to use Army Painter's red tone. It's an ink, very dark red, almost purple color. What I did was put this color in the crack in between the eye lens and that metallic sort of beveled edge around it. What you can do is extend that red out further, this quick shade, and put it even further out around the eye to give it like a look like it's casting sort of a light, and that will help make it look even brighter and more intense. But for my purpose, I chose to keep that nice and tight and restricted. So just a personal preference. Try out a little bit of experimentation with yours and see what you like best. If you do mess up and get too much of the red tone towards the center of the eye and end up making it too dark, come back in with your Evil Sun Scarlet and just paint a nice thin layer towards the center of the eye to brighten it back up again. So next we want to start brightening things up. I'm using Citadel Wild Rider Red for this. It's a more orange side of things, more of a orangey red, I should say. What I'm going to do here is start building a transition from the top of the eye to the bottom, and you can kind of see that starting here. I want the top to be brighter and the bottom to be darker. So to do this, what I'm going to do is draw in that transition using this Wild Rider Red and build upon that, getting smaller and smaller each time to make the eye look brighter towards the top. So this can be a bit tricky. You need to thin out your paint pretty far to about the consistency of a glaze. If you've ever used a glaze by Citadel or any other brand, I guess, then you'll know that consistency is very, very thin. So keep thinning out your paint here on your palette or whatever you may use until you get a consistency that you're comfortable with working with, and keep building up that layer. So you're allowing some of that Evil Sun Scarlet to show through underneath and progressively building up this red, or this Wild Rider red, I should say, to get a bit brighter towards the top. Now just take your time. It's very hard to tell you exactly how many layers to do or exactly how thin your paint needs to be, that kind of thing. Just experiment with it. It's more of a feel until you get the look that you like and that you're after. For our final highlight, we want to pick up Fluorescent Yellow. This is Game Color by Vallejo, a very, very bright yellow, as you can see on screen here. Now, for these last two steps here, I'm only doing one thin layer, and that's to illustrate for the purpose of this tutorial that you don't have to spend a ton of time layering and blending tons and tons of layers to get an okay glow effect. That being said, if you do take your time and thin out even further and do more layers, progressively building your transition stronger and stronger, you will get a much more striking and realistic sort of glow effect to your model. But you don't have to spend that time if you don't want to. So for this yellow here, we're doing a basic wet blend. So you want to take your very thin yellow and put a very small amount where you want the brightest area to be. So in our case, the top of the eye lens here. Get all the paint quickly off your brush. Don't leave it sitting there too long. So you just have some water on your brush, and then start from that bright area where you just put the paint and draw it down using your brush. Pull that little ball of paint down into the darker areas, feathering it as you go, kind of giving you that nice, easy transition so it's not like a line. You don't see the line between the orange, between the red, and then the yellow. It should all blend together, and this does take practice. I'll end up doing a video on wet blending at some point, but there are multiple great tutorials out there if you guys are uncomfortable with a wet blending technique. So here we have the finished technique. Not too bad of an effect for very few steps overall. We don't need to do a ton of blending and layering to get a neat little glow. And depending on what you want to do, you could do a glow that starts in the center and gets darker towards the edges, or maybe it's brighter on the bottom and gets darker towards the top. You can do like an angle sort of gradient. There's a lot of different ways that you can paint this effect on like a smooth round surface, something like LEDs or little lights on things like rhinos. There's a lot of ways that you can utilize a technique like this using different color palettes. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, have enjoyed the video. If you have, or even if you haven't, let me know down in the comment section below. Stay tuned for more tutorials in the future. If you do like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm also very active on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that kind of thing. Try to post at least a picture a day on Instagram for those of you that want to see what I'm up to on a daily basis. Consider following me over there. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.